In the ancient biblical world, a covenant was a solemn, binding treaty orchestrated by a dominant king, a suzerain, to establish an official relationship with a subject. For Israel, this begins with the Abrahamic covenant. This was a unilateral royal grant, where God bound himself to provide a specific geographic land, an innumerable lineage, and a blessing that would eventually reach every nation on earth. Centuries later, the Sinai covenant transitioned this family into a holy nation. This administration functioned like a conditional treaty, demanding exclusive allegiance to God's law, with national survival tied to the people's obedience. As the story progresses, more layers are added: the priestly covenant, which guaranteed a perpetual mediator of peace, and the Davidic covenant, which promised an eternal royal throne through the line of David. These covenants function as successive layers of revelation. They stack together as a unified architectural blueprint, with each new administration building upon the foundational promises established in the Torah. The Sinai Treaty contained a strict legal apparatus. The books of Leviticus and Deuteronomy list the specific blessings for fidelity and the detailed, terrifying curses that would be triggered by national rebellion. The Torah explicitly anticipates that Israel will fail to maintain this standard. It charts an inevitable roadmap of rebellion, leading directly to the historical devastation of the Babylonian exile. This collapse revealed a specific structural flaw. While the law was holy, human weakness made it impossible for the people to sustain the relationship. An external code of ethics, written on stone, could not overcome the stubbornness of the human heart. Even in the middle of exile, God insisted that he would never abandon his foundational promises to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The crisis was the catalyst for a different kind of intervention. In Deuteronomy 10, Moses places the burden of change on the people, commanding them to circumcise their own stubborn hearts. It was a moral obligation they proved unable to fulfill. By Deuteronomy 30, the language shifts. God promises after the exile, he will gather the survivors and circumcise their hearts himself, enabling them to love and obey him. This moves the source of holiness from human effort to divine enablement. The inner transformation required by the law becomes a sovereign act of regeneration performed by God. During the final days of the Judean monarchy, the prophet Jeremiah issued a specific promise to the historically divided houses of Israel and Judah. He called this the Berit Kadashah. In Hebrew, Kadashah means the renewal or restoration of an existing entity. The covenant's content remains the same, the Torah, but the medium changes. God embeds his law directly into the people's hearts, rather than on external stone tablets. This internalization bridges the distance between God's command and human desire. Because the law is now an internal inclination, obedience flows from a transformed nature, granting everyone unmediated access to God. Jeremiah secures this promise with a cosmic guarantee. He points to the fixed order of the sun, moon, and stars, stating that as long as the natural laws of the universe remain, Israel will remain a nation before God. The prophet Ezekiel provides the priestly details of this cure. He describes God surgically removing a spiritually dead heart of stone and replacing it with a responsive heart of flesh. The engine of this new obedience is the indwelling of God's Spirit, or Ruach. This active power motivates and enables the people to keep the statutes that they previously shattered. This spiritual renewal manifests as geopolitical restoration. In Ezekiel 37, the historically splintered northern and southern kingdoms move together, fusing into a single, reunified nation. In this prophetic framework, the internal cleansing of the people is tied to the ecological healing of the land. When the nation is made spiritually clean, the physical soil is cured of its ancient curse, becoming like the Garden of Eden. These promises culminate in Yeshua the Messiah. The new covenant's peace and absolute forgiveness are secured through his substitutionary atonement, fulfilling the demands of the priestly and Davidic covenants. The specific geographic details in Ezekiel and the cosmic witnesses in Jeremiah suggest a program that is tied to the physical descendants of Abraham. The text emphasizes the preservation of the nation rather than its replacement. Yahweh remains committed to his people and his ancient promises. Through Yeshua, he acts sovereignly to renew, internalize, and fulfill the entire covenantal blueprint.